violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
I am telling you, man, if you want to help a community, get away from this one. Get away. These little boys were caught stealing, 13, 14, what are you stealing cars? What is this, the 1960s? When I was their age, 14, 15, I had a job. I was bagging groceries. These little nigglets are out here stealing cars. I told you they just killed a church. You can look it up. They killed a church lady weeks ago. This lady lived her whole damn life, probably was the same woman who will be advocating for the little nigglets, shot and killed her over a car. Guys, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Black Gen Z, what's up, man? I know you're about to really go in. What's up, man?
What up, man? How you doing?
Hey, I'm awesome, man. Just chilling, man. It's a great Sunday, man. Just hanging out. What's going on?
Yeah, I just wanted to address some of the things you were saying. You know, you were right on when you're talking about like the administrators, the school district, like the people who the school board, they are enablers. Like they see these issues, they see these problems. And a lot of sisters are getting into these positions because they have formal education and whatnot. And they're pretty much enablers. Like all of these women are, and it's a lot of the men too, like you said, but the women are getting into positions of power and they're, you know, like Kim Fox in Chicago, she's a district attorney. She's letting everybody go, you know, like you don't even have to put up cash to bond out, just like Buddy in New York. They got a female police chief. I mean, it's a lot of weird stuff going on. You got in New Orleans, I know you were talking about the carjacking. In New Orleans, there was a woman who was a carjacked, 74-year-old woman named Linda Fricky. Right? Now, she was a white woman, but they dismembered her. Yeah, they dismembered her. Like they carjacked her. Her arm got stuck in the seatbelt. And like there is a culture of just like these little super gremlins carjacking people. Yeah. And you see the Kia boys in Milwaukee. And then they have the Water Boys at where I'm at in Atlanta. So a lot of these dudes are, you know, they've been enabled. And they're pretty much running amok and they're doing whatever they want. And when they get arrested, they're being released immediately, just like we saw with the young man the other day. So, you know, it's a whole crap show, honestly.
Yeah. Sir, I used to teach, man. I already said that. I used to teach, man. The black kids who were good, the black kids who were exceptionally smart, a lot of times in these schools, they're paid no attention to. Right. They're not, I'm telling you, it's the weirdest thing. But then Tyrone, all the teachers want to advocate for him. Tyrone could be in and out of jail. You know, Tyrone's going to come out of jail. Where you, Tyrone, I called your mom. Where you been at? They're paying too much attention, utilizing too many resources for these little degenerates. And sir, Black Gen Z mindset, let me tell you something, my good sir. Believe it or not, man, I used to be like that many years ago. I used to try to advocate, try to go out of my way, but then I realized there's no hope for these types of kids. You're going to have to start locking them up. Oh, yeah. You're going to have to be vigilant and knocking them on their asses, man. Listen, society has, here goes the problem that I have. If these nigglets these little juvenile bastards, if they are out here being, causing fracas or whatever, don't bother civilians. See, the problem with the kid I'm going to go back to the kid situation, the kid that from the first story.
Right.
See, the problem with this little bastard, first of all, he's 13 or 14 years old, and he's around fifth graders. Now, when I said, yo, wait a minute, he's too big and too old to be around these people, these little kids, they're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Right.
See, the problem is that he's being disruptive to these innocent fifth graders, these kids who obviously have different, like they're cognitively, they're not there yet. So these are like 10, 11-year-olds. This boy is 13, 14. So that 2 or 3 years is vastly different in terms of cognitively speaking.
Right.
And the same thing goes with the Communitah. You have these people in the community, like you said, they're harming 74-year-old women, civilians. If they didn't bother the civilian class of people, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I don't think people would really have a problem with it, but they're bothering civilians. That's what my problem is.
I mean, that's who they target. Once like that mask mandate was implemented, you started to see a rise in looting. You started to see a rise in just like brazen armed robbery.
Yeah.
They don't care if cameras are around. They don't care if it's the middle of the day. We had a coach, Coach Brian Coleman, who was shot and killed in Atlanta just 2 weeks ago. And he was pumping air into his tires at a Quick Trip. This is how the Quick Trips be packed during the day, broad daylight. These little super gremlins are running up, trying to carjack you if you don't give it up. Or if you do give it up, either way, they still will kill you. Yeah. I mean, and this is happening everywhere. It's not just in Atlanta, it's in major cities across the United States. And they're advocating for the dudes who are doing this. Like, there was, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a woman named Arabella Yarborough who, I'm familiar. Yeah, she got her home shot in by the Andrew Teckle Sundberg guy who got shot and killed by the police after like a 6-hour standoff. Yeah, where they tried to call his adopted parents. They tried to do everything they could to talk him down off the ledge. Right. Yeah. And she's pretty much telling them how it is. And you could see the women, and there was an LGBT brother who like confronted her, and they really like they wanted to put hands and feet on her. Yep. But her baby daddy was with her, and then she had another guy with her who was protecting her. But they were so mad at her because she was coming with the truth on how this dude just shot into her apartment with her kids there while she's cooking. Yeah. But you got BLM out there protesting for that nigga. So it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's listen, man, I really believe that, and I'll be the first to say it, man. Now, Black Gen Z, you are college educated, right?
Yes.
I have to say this, my good sir. A lot of educated blacks are to blame for what is going on in this country. And a lot of blacks, especially who are in fraternities, will never say these things. But I am the whistleblower. I don't give a damn. A lot of the Divine Nine, especially, is to blame. The Divine Nine is, let's be completely honest, is the elites. Period. Point blank. That is the most elite. The most elite blacks come from the Divine Nine. But you have a lot of members of the Divine Nine, especially my fraternity alphas. We create these idiotic organizations, these little after-school programs for these, like you call them, super gremlins, thinking that we are helping the community when in fact you're doing harm. I saw it. So many of my own fraternity brothers have created these organizations, these little programs for these kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't you realize, you dummy, that is encouraging the degeneracy, encouraging these women and these men to have children out of wedlock, because they know, well, it's gonna be somebody that gonna mentor my kid. No,
right.
When I listen, this is why a lot of people, when I was teaching, see, they didn't want me to speak and talk. They hated it. He said, chaotic always. I was too much for people because I just kept it real. The mentors of these boys should be their fathers. The fathers should be responsible men, not just some nigga breeding.
Right. But that's who they're choosing. That's who they want to lay down with. So
yeah,
it's hard to do that. And if you know, people hate talking about the fraternities, sororities, and all that kind of stuff. But everything that they love to say that they hate online, like the colorism and the elitism, the classism, all goes into those fraternities as well.
Yep.
And then when you look at HBCUs, they're not even safe. You see what I'm saying? Like it sucks to say, but it's like a escalated high school. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying there ain't people learning there, but there's so many distractions that you can't get around, right? And what I mean by distractions is just like the danger element. You know, they were having shootings at Grambling State when during the spring semester. So I mean, and then the way they got them at Howard with their dorms and that whole situation, and we know DC ain't safe. They shot up the Juneteenth Coachella event like just last month. So you got a lot of issues going on and people just overlooking it.
We have a bad problem in especially now we have, give me 1 second here. What's up, man? What's up? You're on mute. What's up?
Good evening, everyone. How you doing, Chaotic?
Go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, man. Great topic, man. You know, I know you was getting into it a little more, so I'll listen until you finish up.
Okay. Yep. Go ahead, Black Jizzy. Continue on about the HBCUs. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I was just saying, like the situation that they got them in at Howard, where the dorms aren't kept up and whatnot. It's like, what are y'all doing with all that money? And then they're having, they said they're housing Ukrainians. I think they're housing like 100 Ukrainians or something like that. It's like, y'all need to focus on the students that y'all got, not like bringing in, you know, random white exchange students just to look politically correct.
Sir, I haven't told this story in 30 years? No, probably like 27 years. I went to a camp. I'm not going to name the camp. And I've only told this story a handful of times. The camp was about, I think at the time, I can't remember, it was in the 90s, maybe $200 a month. It was a very nice camp. There was some program that allowed sort of like some sort of subsidy for kids who parents couldn't afford the camp to go there at a different rate. So I'm in the camp, and there are some kids there who come from, let's just say, sketchy backgrounds. About 2 weeks into the camp, I'm being very personal today, by the way. About 2 weeks into the camp, I hear one of the counselors say, let's take a portion of Chaotic's money and give it to Johnny. Now, Johnny is one of the kids who was being subsidized to go there. Mm-hmm. So they took a few dollars out of my money to give it to this kid so that he can afford something from the dispensary or whatever in the camp, like some ice cream or something. And I didn't think nothing of it as a kid. But then when I got about 16 or 17, I said, those motherfuckers robbed me. They robbed me. And they robbed me because, again, Johnny was from a messed up background, not responsible parents. And again, you have people like those camp counselors. Instead of making this an administrative issue, like how come Johnny doesn't have enough this, that, and the other? We need to contact his parents. Let's do this. The kids are 10, 11, they won't know the difference. So we'll take $2 from him, $2 from them. Right. This is, now mind you, that's a macro way of looking at, a micro way of looking at what's happening on a macro level. If you agree with that or not.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. You have the people who are doing right suffering. and then on the back end, we're still cheering for the criminals, you know, that we should be against, but we're cheering for them, and it's like we support them.
Yep.
What I would say is what's important is the last 65 years. And I think what has happened is there's more emotional boys simply because they're learning from moms who were trained to be competitive, basically be men. So they're seeing the competitive side of their moms, but their moms are also emotional home behind closed doors. So now these reckless boys are joining gangs, are joining members who are not contributing to society. And I think what is lost is, where's the strong, straight men who will stand up, i.e. Black Panthers, who will stand up to gang member leaders and take back the community, obviously be willing to be shot at, or, you know, because we know how these young people go. They will take you down in a heartbeat because they have no backbone. But we as Black men, I guess at the end of the day, are we looking to the government too much? Can we just have 1,000 Black men stand up to all of these gang members and take back our own community one by one?
No, that'll never happen.
What we
That'll
need,
never happen.
this is
So
what
are we
needs,
weak? So are we weak ABs? I don't want to cuss on the show. Are we weak ABs?
this is what needs to happen. And normally, you know, I'm not, I haven't been as blunt with my solutions, but I'm going to be blunt today. General Z Mindset, you are an insanely intelligent man. You're probably, I think you're smarter than me. Do you know who Bukele is?
No, I don't.
Bukele is the El Salvadorian president. If anybody is familiar with Bukele is 40 years old. He came into office when he was 37, a few years ago. El Salvador's murder rate, you know what it was? When he came into office, it was 105 or 120 per 100,000, right? Do you know what it is now? It's about 15 or 20.
Wow.
Do you know what he started to do?
What do you do?
He cracked down on gangs. He cracked down on just sheer debauchery. These things need to happen in the Black community.
Right.
Period, point blank. You know what Bukele started doing? He started having police on corners. If you have a lot of tattoos, this is what needs to happen.
Hello.
People sagging your pants, the police should automatically approach you. They should automatically run your name. They should automatically talk to you. They should automatically search you.
Stop and frisk.
Playing loud noise in your car. See, what Bukele did is
they're doing that in Florida.
Yeah, he started to basically police everything that initiates bad behavior within the society. So in El Salvador, if you have a lot of tattoos, well, generally gang members, generally criminals have a lot of tattoos. So even if you are a person just with tattoos, you can get rounded up and stopped and frisked in El Salvador. These things may be extreme, but the murder rate when he got into office, 120. 3 years later, 20 people per 100,000. That is absolutely phenomenal for any real leader. Go ahead, Kenshin. Go ahead.
And what's going to have to happen is, along with those officers on the corner, chaotic, it's going to have to be presence of senior men right there. All right, because you're not gonna, the young people, let's say 100 people, one county, 80 children from those one people, 40 boys, 30 of them are gang members or not contributing to society. They're not gonna shoot up the uncles and the grandfathers of the neighborhood who stepped up to be that leader or presence with the officers at the corner. And that's what it really comes down to. The senior men that go alongside the officers to keep in accordance with bad behavior and search and seek and destroy that out, will they shoot back at us? Because they're going to be young men who want to we already have cop killers. So if these black men step up in the community alongside officers, will these gang members shoot back, not even fight back?
Oh yeah, they're definitely gonna shoot. I mean, they already don't respect the elders. As the guy mentioned yesterday, the man in Philly, the 74-year-old man who was beat up by the kids with the traffic cone. You know, that's just like a small portion. I mean, there have been pregnant women getting shot in the Bronx after baby showers. I mean, all hell is broken loose. It doesn't matter who you are.
The question becomes, will we have to speak to the mothers of these gang leaders and gang members? You better get your
hold on. Did you try what I like to say? I like to say, sisters, come get your kids. But at the same time, we heard what the mother of the 16-year-old boy or whatever who fought the cop in the New York subways, she doubled down. So you can't talk to these women. You can't. I say, which is very controversial, I say this on my channel all the time, we need a new crime bill, but who's going to write it? Joe Biden can't even read.
And see, that's what I'm saying. We may have to escape the government a bit and stand there with the officers at the corner, like Chaotic is saying, black male presence.
Yeah, there needs to be, and what I'm saying is that, of course, the model that Bukele in El Salvador has set is, you really don't see things like this in America, but maybe these things need to happen in certain communities. And I really believe this. Listen, there are mayors that are black, entire councils that are black. All it takes is for blacks to say, you know what, we're going to police these communities. We're going to use the model that Bukele is using in El Salvador. Oh, we can't do that. This isn't El Salvador, blah. See, and again, those types of blacks need to be ignored at this point. I've been around them for so many years, man, and I finally have gotten rid of them within the last 4 or 5 years, man. I told you, Black Gen Z, I started an engineering program at the charter school. Mm-hmm. I had the kids doing phenomenal projects. I had the kids almost like project managers, say, initiating a project, planning a project, complete, yada, 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 all the way down. And it taught the kids how systems work. But when you have 1 or 2 kids that are completely disruptive to this system, to this flow process, instead of intelligent blacks saying, you know what, we need to get rid of this person. Oh no, we're a community. We're this, we're that, we're blah, 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 blah. No, get rid of this person. There's no negotiation at this point. And this is the problem that happened in Memphis. You got these kids who are stealing cars. They're stealing cars because they have been given chance after chance after chance. So, you got kids who are 10 years old. That 10-year-old kid that got caught at Memphis stealing a car, they are initiating him into a life of being a Pookie, a life of being a George Floyd.
Yes.
And the 16-year-old that got caught, he was once that 10-year-old. So you have to stop the behavior early. Dat man, what's up, man?
What's going on, man?
What up?
What you had said about the situation with the kids at the camp. When you were a kid at a camp and they took your money to give to another kid, you know what it made me think of?
What's that?
It made me think of like they're just trying to prep you to get you kind of used to the little socialistic mindset,
Exactly.
Yeah. Trying to condition you to keep used to the social justice. Give to everybody because you got it right.
Yeah. And instead of, in my opinion, instead of the and and I don't know what, see, and it's funny because the brain of a 10-year-old is so different than the brain of a 16-year-old. When I got 16, I said, wait a minute, they robbed me at that camp. I don't know why it just clicked to me. It just turned on one day. And I said, the camp counselors there, they would rather steal from the kids who parents could afford the camp. They would rather steal from the good kids and the good parents and give it to these kids instead of saying, you know what, we're going to call this kid's mother and say, how come little Johnny doesn't have, listen, he's already been subsidized to go into this program. How come you can't get, you don't have enough money to give him ice cream money? Ice cream money? And these camp counselors, I'm not saying that they were wrong, but I'm not saying that they were right either. It's just that they're caught between a rock and a hard place, because if they approach the parent, and this is the 90s too, they're probably thinking, well, the parent gonna come up here and cuss me out. But see, they're not afraid of the parents who could afford it, because they're probably thinking, well, the parents who could afford it, they're soft. They ain't gonna say nothing.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
It kind of reminds me of me being grown, how, you know, when I get my check, that's all those taxes that's forcibly taken out my check for you know, baby mamas that ain't mine. But it just reminds me like the society and how it's set up, you know. It's the most blind-blowing thing to me is these little boys that is walking around here, that's going out here out their way and doing all these crimes, right? No one has sat down and asked, why are these boys doing this?
They're doing it, and I'm gonna tell you why they're doing it. They're doing it because now I don't know, Black Jizzy, if you agree with this. What's up, Zay? How you doing?
No, I'm doing good.
Dapper Man, I don't know if you are into this, but I certainly am. I've written papers on this. Our culture, the African people, for some reason, we need a dictator. We never really had a republic as a people. If you look at ancient African societies, the ancient Egyptians, even the Assyrians, and all these ancient African cultures, there was a dictator.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of African people in the populace. If you allow them to run amok, they don't know what to do with their freedom. So they act a fool. So you have to have an iron fist when you are ruling over a certain segment of blacks. Yeah. And I really believe that. I believe that there are certain blacks that need an iron fist. Listen, that boy that came on here the other day, he's one of those blacks. But here goes the thing. If he was in Nigeria, his behavior would be checked instantaneously. Go ahead, Dapper. Because in Nigeria, Buhari, Buhari, the president, who was the military dictator in the 70s when Nigeria was an absolute military dictatorship. See, that kid wouldn't be able to do what he did, because you know why? There are absolute consequences for that kind of deviant behavior. They don't play around in these other countries. They don't give you second and third chances.
Right.
True.
Let that have been Jamaica. Go ahead, guys.
Okay. Do you think that's why blacks are voting for the communists that are in office right now?
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Frederick Douglass, where a shooting just took place. And as you can see, it's a pretty rough area. So I'm basically risking my life reporting on this madness. So make sure you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. Like the video, hell, share the video. And make sure you go ahead and leave a comment down in the comments section to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this son violence in the streets. I'm Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
No.
No, I don't think so. But go ahead.
They
vote for the Socialistic Party. You know, it's kind of hard to dispute when they always begging for the government handouts and not noticing what they're doing to them. You know.
Yeah, but they're also more leftist, so it's a blend of ideologies that are going on with the party that we are so loyal to. It's not just socialism. They're hitting you at all different angles.
What's up, unsolicited security?
Like what? Like what exactly? What are you talking about?
So they're hitting you. I mean, I don't want to get conspiratorial on here, but they're hitting you at the angle of abortion, making black people. Black women basically abort 474 out of 1,000 live births. So they're hitting you from a population standpoint. Yeah, because you have these women, feminists, white feminists and black feminists out here protesting for the right to kill their own children, which has depleted the black population more than anything else, more than us killing each other. So they're hitting you from that angle. They're also hitting you from the sexual liberation angle. So they're hitting you with families because women are being more liberal with their wombs. So basically men aren't trying to wife that. And a lot of them are coming out with kids and whatnot. So it's not conducive to a family when the woman already has kids. A lot of men are walking away. And then also the homosexuality that's rampant in the black community as well, especially in the prisons. You know, it's pretty much well known that guys in DC and New Orleans, those prisons are rampant with homosexuality. So that's also hitting you on a population standpoint as well. I mean, there's so many different angles that, you know, we could hit. Just the enabling of the lawlessness in the inner cities, also hitting you on a population standpoint. So, you know, you could slice it up anyway, but it's not even about like the financial system that they're proposing, i.e. socialism. It's more on a sociological and political angle.
I thank you so much, Black Gen Z. Dapper, I wrote one of my majors in college was African Studies, right? One of many bullshit degrees that I got. I wrote a paper about this 2004 maybe 2005 maybe, and I said that criminality might be in the black man's DNA. Got chased out of class. Niggas want to, what nigga? What? Mind you, I said criminality might be in the black man's DNA, and the niggas tried to assault me. That just goes to show you. So while I'm being chased out of class, come back to class and I say, listen, just hear me out. Is it possible that criminality might be embedded in the genetic code? It's possible. And could it be that maybe, just maybe, there needs to be certain systems in place to suppress this criminal aspect?
Can I reply to that?
Give me 1 second, Keisha. Give me 1 second.
I want to say something real quick.
Oh, Dapper, give me 1 second. I wrote a paper about this. Everybody said, well, what about the white man? What about? I'm like, I don't care about the white man. I don't care about the Jewish man. I don't care about the Asian man. I care about niggas. The Jewish man ain't bothering me. The Jewish man ain't running up on some 75-year-old black woman, knocking her over the head and stealing her damn car. So I don't give a damn about what Jews do. The thing of the matter is that I know what niggas do. And the fact of the matter is that there is something that is wrong with these juvenile delinquents. And what I'm saying is that unless you rule them with an iron fist, these little nigglets are going to continue to Black Gen, did you just say that they shot a famous Atlantean black man coach?
Yeah, he was a former D1 athlete and a coach of a high school football team, Brian Coleman. Yeah, they shot him while he was pumping air in his tires at the Quick Trip.
Yeah, I've seen
on
that.
Peachtree Road.
Can I reply to that, JR?
Listen, give me 1 second, guys. I know a lot of you niggas don't believe this. Not you guys on the panel. I think that they need to bring back hangings. Now, hear me out. There is nothing more shocking than seeing someone hanging from a tree.
Facts.
And what I am saying is that whatever they were doing in the 1600s, 1700s, that shit might have worked. You do a crime. Hey, string this motherfucker up on a tree. Black, white, whatever. And people will argue that was racist. Maybe those black men were criminals. You think black people were this benevolent back then? So
I can actually send you something in the back chat too. But yeah, I advocate for draconian crime bill that is sweeping, and it roots out all of this violent activity, the violent behavior in the inner cities, because these dudes, it's like there is no consequence. Now they doing fucking TikToks in prison, and it's like y'all having fun in prison now. So it's not even a punishment to go. And then you're gonna get out quickly. I mean, there's even tapes of gangsters in Los Angeles who are pretty much praising the DA Gascon out there because he's letting everybody go, getting everybody's charges dropped. Like the complete lawlessness because of the CV, they unleashed 60,000 prisoners in California. Just let them go.
Go
Reduce
ahead.
sentences and all that stuff. So,
no, you good. Go ahead, Kim. I know you want to say something. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me get these super chats real quick. Acadia, my fault for missing your super chat. Thank you so much for your super chat. And Unsolicited Boss, thank you so much for your super chat as well. Go ahead, Kenshawn.
Yeah, I think that you put it a nice way, Chaotic. We are too forgiving. We are the only race that forgives. And if we are not forgiving then we would be like the Black Panthers, rise up with the police force, do whatever it needs to be done to walk to each home in our community and tell the mothers of that home that you either have to tell your son to leave this country with his guns, with his whatever he has that does not contribute, leave this country by this weekend or we're coming for him. And if they're going to take gunfire to us, we're going to kill your sons, your nephew. We're killing all. We're blowing them up.
But see, and here's the thing. That's what
we are too forgiving. We're the most forgivingest race. That's how they took us over.
That's how it's a lot of noise in the background. You guys seriously have to look at the link is dropped. And I see Black GZ. I see that real for a minute.
Where up?
You seriously have to look at what Bukele in El Salvador has done. He came in there. First of all, he's not a Hispanic. So his ancestry is Middle Eastern, right? I don't know if anybody knows who Bukele is, his ancestry is Middle Eastern, but his father was born in El Salvador. He sees a problem. He's more intelligent than the natives. And he says, you know what? I could fix this. This is what you have to do. Well, listen, it's probably in their genetics to be criminals. But see, the problem is that these criminals are bad for the economy. We need tourism to come into El Salvador. We need people to buy and sell goods here. People aren't going to do that if people are getting their heads blown off down the street here. We have to suppress this. Same thing in the Black community. A leader needs to be a mayor of a Black city. They need to be honest with themselves. Listen, it's in your Black ass DNA. That's just let's be honest. Most of you Blacks, you're criminals by nature. Let's be honest. It's in your DNA. But here goes the thing. I am going to bring about order. And it's going to be a police in shopping districts. And if you get out of order, if you're hollering and screaming, you're walking around sagging your pants, you're bothering people, we're going to fuck you up. A mayor of a Black city needs to say these things to them. See, that would bring so much terror that even your worst criminal would say, damn, that nigga ain't playing. See, and that's, and I remember the black teachers, when I was a kid, when they used to say things and hem black kids up, those black kids respected those black male teachers. One time, and I'm gonna let you guys go in a minute. Mm-hmm. I told you guys this before when that little niglet was on the panel the other day. I was teaching the classroom. It was about 30 black kids in there acting a fool. Half of the class are juvenile delinquents. When I called them some black little niggers with the ER, why you call us that? I'm gonna tell my mommy. See, all of a sudden, I got their attention. All of a sudden, they started to act right. See, a black mayor, no, white people, don't you say that. A black man needs to start doing and saying these things like Bukele in El Salvador. He said this. You guys should look up Bukele. He's a very influential man. He said, you know what's so funny? The Americans and other Western powers, they, for years, allowed the murder rates, the robbery rates to go through the roof in El Salvador and said nothing and did nothing. The minute I came into power and I crushed it, now I'm violating human rights. He said, how about this? We're going to give you people all of our criminals. Where's Biden at now? Right. So, Zay, what's up, man?
I hear you, bro. Like, but one of the things you were saying about the hanging and things of that nature,
it needs to come back.
Hangings, beheadings, firing squad, we need them all.
I think our only issue would be the 8th Amendment, right? Or no?
I think it needs to start in the community. I think at the corners with the police, there needs to be black presence there. Yep. Straight men who will die to get the community right by searching and destroying each gang leader, member, whoever it is not contributing to. We will talk to you first. We will approach you first as approachable. If you do not leave this country, we will kill you because you're not gonna take over.
But that's the thing. I'm like,
in the community.
Is it? Are you trying to go in the way of politically, or are you trying to do on some war?
No.
Game type stuff?
No, not war. Absolutely not. Here goes the thing. Here goes my approach. Okay, so Zayshawn, his approach is, I ain't gonna lie, his approach is too extreme for me. But nevertheless, that's his opinion. My opinion is this, my good sir. Memphis, Jackson, Atlanta, major cities that are black cities. This isn't, listen, Jewish people watch me, white people watch me. This is
Philly,
black.
Baltimore, Michigan.
This is what needs to happen. Black people, the educated blacks especially, they need to stop bullshitting and pretending that there's no problem. There needs to be black leadership that says, you know what? I believe in freedom. I believe in capitalism. But we're not going to have these things if these communities are being held hostage by these little nigglets in this disorder. If we see you sagging your pants, if we see you've been in nigga neighborhoods, niggas walking up and down the street, hollering and screaming at the air. If we see you doing things that are disorderly, if we see you littering, we are going to... If we're going to implement the law at its extent. So if we see you littering, we're going to arrest you and put you in jail, keep you on hold for a couple of days. You can see the judge. It's just littering. No. Littering leads to murder. That's my view on it. You litter, you murder.
Yeah, it's the small things.
You litter, you rape.
My grandmother said a liar is
called broken windows policing. Yeah, if you lie, you'll steal. If you'll steal, you'll kill.
Yeah.
You know what I think? Man. I think that everybody comes with a lot of solutions about like, oh well, we can go out there and police our own neighborhoods and all that stuff. That all sounds good until you have a 12-year-old sticking you up.
No, Dapper, you're missing the point, my good sir. See, this is what you're missing. There ain't no 12-year-old sticking up people in Nigeria. You know why? Because the community will kill that kid. The police will kill that kid. That kid knows this. See, you people need to literally look at black countries, right? You cannot rule these black people like a republic. Sometimes you have to rule them from a dictator perspective. Now, we don't have any dictatorships in America, but I'm telling you, places like Atlanta, where the good blacks are being targeted by the bad blacks. Oh, I listen, you let me be the mayor. Oh, it'll be fixed within a matter of days. Within a matter of days.
Yeah, we got Mayor Andre Dickens, and all he did was midnight basketball. And like that's gonna stop the problem, like, dude.
And that's what I was just about to say, because you could
I
use
would have midnight nigga beatings.
And see, you can have the federal money and the state money, and both of those money will only go so far to little projects and little weekend camps to things like that. Boys Brigade, and that's how far it's going to go. What we do need is, we know men work 8 hours a day and they come home to those communities. Yeah. Those men need now to put 4 hours back into patrolling those communities, speaking with mothers who know that their sons are unruly, right? We need to try and get counseling. We need to make them approachable for us, to make them think of another option than being a violent person in our community.
Well,
the end thereof, we will beat your ass. The men in that community will beat your ass. And it has to come to a point where we're willing to die as men to take our community back.
My thing is this, especially to that little kid that called in. You're a criminal. It's in your DNA. You're a criminal. You're one of those types of blacks. But just don't. He was charged somewhere in Manhattan. He's in Manhattan. The nigga.
He had armed robbery charges. Like, he's a piece of shit, bro.
The boy left his nigga community to go to Manhattan, an illustrious business district, to bother well-to-do people. He's a predator, just like most of these kids are predators. And the fact of the matter is that, listen, you little niglet, bother fellow criminals, kill each other, rob each other. Just don't bother the civilian people. That's my argument. And I think that's where Bukele was coming. But
they have to, because they're cowards, and they have to prey on the weak.
That's true.
Hey, look, the thing about it, though, is chaotic, you say, is in their DNA.
It's, of course. No, Dapper, stop it. You leave Dapper. Give me a second. Dapper. Dapper. Take away the government in Japan, Japan will still be a paradise. Take away the government with Jewish Americans, it'll be a paradise regardless. They can police themselves. You take away the police with blacks. Let me ask you a question, Black Gen Z.
That's my point. That's my whole point.
Would you want to live in a country, Black Gen Z, if there was no police for blacks?
Absolutely. I mean, that's why these people talking about defund the police and all that kind of stuff. It's like, y'all are insane.
Yeah, that is insane. But okay. This is my point on that, though. A lot of these boys they get roles in a society where they around nothing but hood-ish. Like, all they do is they listen to the newest rap song that come up about murking and killing somebody, and then they got a new when they with their mother or getting roles by their mother, they get by them. They get by themselves because their mother is like at work or whatever, and they at home by themselves, and they just going out on the street when their mother is gone. A lot of this stuff is due to single mother households. I don't want to say it's DNA. I think it's
single mother households or not, sir. The way to fix it, or the way to see, you really can't fix it. You have to manage it.
Yeah.
You have to have strong black male rulership. See, the Egyptians, the black pharaohs, the men, see, they know, or they knew what to do. I can show you pictures. I can show you pictures of black men beating the shit out of people in ancient Egypt. They knew what to do. These some dumb niggas. I need this pyramid built. You think those black men asked these people, hey man, build this pyramid? They had to beat them. They knew what to do thousands of years ago. You have to manage. You have to manage.
Yo, Black Gen Z.
Yeah.
I would nominate you.
For what?
You won't nominate me first?
Nah, KI, you sound like you want to be a dictator on the floor.
KI say you gotta beat him.
Look at this black man from thousands of years ago. Look at these people that you have to listen.
Had them niggas by the hair.
Listen, when I was teaching, when you're nice to the little juvenile delinquents, they don't respect you. But when you say, listen, you little motherfucking nigger bastards, do this. See, I know what is in the black genetic code. Not all blacks are like this.
No. Hey,
We need that. We need that type. Go ahead, man.
I
gotta let J.I. talk to you.
Think about this. Their mothers come from them in that nice way. That's why their mother comes to them in that night. Charlie comes to them in that night home. But that's why they're immune to it, because they used to what their mother does.
No, Dapper man, listen to me. Whether that is true or not, sir, there needs to be management in the community, and it needs to be done. It needs to be done by certain types of blacks who understand that order and stability, it maintains a society. And whenever there is no order in law, you get Detroit. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why I asked earlier, are we weak ABs for not doing nothing and expecting the mayor to do everything? Because we're weak ABs by not being leadership.
We're weak by voting for the wrong leadership. That's what we're weak at.
What do you need to physically be there besides?
No, we don't. No, we don't. No,
the mayor can't do it all by himself.
Look at what Mayor Giuliani did. Look at what Giuliani did in the 90s. Got the murder rate down by 69%. I mean, we could employ a white man to do it, but we don't want to do that.
Thank you so much, Black Gen Z. Guys, we can't talk over each other. Here goes the thing. A lot of people have accused me of being an Uncle Tom, Uncle Ruckus. But all I do is state facts. The white man, he's not perfect, but his ancestors created a republic in Rome. The black people, at least I don't know of, we've never really created a republic. So you have to manage niggas. You have to tell them what to do, whether it's black people or white people doing it. When you allow these little kids to not have any type of, when you're not telling them what to do, you get that little boy who came on here the other day.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Listen, you little nigga. Go ahead.
I think what happens is, you remember when police officers don't get assigned to the areas where they live. They don't get assigned near that area. I think this is a case where black men, they don't want that assignment. It's very hard. They may get targeted in their own community. They want to be weak. And so it is what it is, man.
Let me play this video for Black Gen Z. Black Gen Z, this is what you wanted to play, right, sir? Black Gen Z? Okay, I don't know where he went. Black Gen Z?
I got a question.
Go ahead, Doctor.
How did we keep the everything in order, and like in the days when like Martin Luther King and people like that was because back then they looked very well kept.
Sir, do not let that shit fool you. You are only seeing pictures of a certain segment of blacks. Martin Luther King, I said it before, he was accompanied by elite black people. Martin Luther King is a part of the Divine Nine. He's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. So is Jesse Jackson is a member of Omega Psi Phi. Other people that were marching with him were elite blacks. Your common black back then, some Bama who lived in the backwaters, they weren't marching. You didn't see those types of backwater blacks. Let's be honest. It's funny because we have only seen 12 photos of the 60s, and we get this image that all blacks walked around with suits. No, most black people were backwards back then.
The video that I got in the back chat, let me just pull it up for you. I'm gonna show you like what Chaotic is talking about.
Here, let me bring it up for you. Give me a second.
Okay. Yeah, I got my screen shared. Yeah, there we go. Check it out.
They chased him.
This is in 1969, 1970, Kansas City, Missouri.
He hit this man's car, and he hit another man's car, and they chased him up here.
Hey, stop me. Thank you, pussy mother.
Grab that wagon and make that go.
Okay, I'll give my goddamn jacket. Where's my jacket, bro? Hey, Jake, where's my jacket for me? It's laying back there.
You go back down to your car. We got a bunch of reports.
It's back there.
Okay? And I'll be there as soon as I can.
What do you come down the back steps?
Yeah, I get you in when I kick the door.
I ain't got no goddamn back steps, and you better not kick my door no more.
I kicked it, fella.
So don't kick it no more. You heard what I said.
Your own people here knows you and chased you, Howard.
Ain't nobody chase me, nigga. You crazy. Fool. Hey, put my jacket on me, man. It's cold out here.
All right,
do I get that favor?
Do what?
Can I get a favor?
You got it. You got it on.
Stupid ass. Say, man, I'm killing you when I get out. You and your little punk brothers and that there. And you don't believe you don't believe that I do something to you, ass little sissy ass cousin or brother, whatever it is. He ain't nothing but a punk himself.
You run into my car, you can stop and talk to me.
Hey, that's right, nigga. I got your handcuffs on too.
Baby.
Bitch raised mother.
My car, I'd have shot you.
Yeah, I would have shot you back too.
Yeah, would you? You're a killer at heart. Where's your
Uh-huh.
gun?
Yeah, I'm a killer.
All right.
Somebody pushing me, man. What's wrong with you? Hands off me.
Man, forget it. Give it up. You ain't going nowhere.
I can get him up. Think of that nigga in my mouth back there. I'm
You tried hard and you lost. Now forget it.
I ain't trying to do a mother thing. Man, don't be putting your... you looking for something important now? Huh?
I don't see anything of importance, Howard.
What you looking for?
I think that we get the picture, Gen Z. Unreal God, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, I'm scared to send my son to high school for the first time this September because how violent these kids are these days. Yeah, man, right. There's nothing new under the sun. And as you can clearly see, this is the 60s. The same speech patterns, the same ebonics. And again, this got a textbook, got 30 minutes of video of Martin Luther King thinking that blacks were, that's all the black people were just marching and that's all. No, the majority of. Give me a second, man. I was playing chess years ago with this old black man. He's about 80-something years old. He was whooping my ass at chess. Whooping my ass. Been playing for 75 years. You know what he told me? He said the reason why they didn't want blacks at these restaurants in the North because the niggas came up here and they were acting a fool from the South. I said, man, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't even think. He said, yeah, they didn't have like decorum. Same thing with poor white trash. They didn't really want them there either, but at least poor whites knew not to go there. They said these niggas would come in there acting a fool. What do they do now? How many times you go to Applebee's and niggas are acting a fool?
All the time.
Thing.
Damn.
Thank you for showing that video.
2 for 20, crazy though.
It's literally, hey, look, now that you put that in front of me, I kind of already had an idea, but now that you put that in front of me, like, that's exactly how niggas act in the hood right now.
That's how they always have acted. And that's the thing. That's what, listen, I am not trying to bash black people. I'm not. I love black. I love being black. But these little nigglets would have existed. Those little nigglets that were caught in that sting in Memphis, they would have existed in the 30s and the 40s. But at least back then, they would have gotten their basically, there were a lot of things that would have conditioned them not to act a fool. Mm-hmm. Like, if you do that, if you do that, see, but now everybody, they're giving so many excuses now to act a fool. Ain't no fear no more. But imagine 100 years ago, somebody say, shit, you do that, they might hang you for that. Shit, motherfucker. Shit, you better not go in that white folk town acting a fool, nigga. They might hang you, nigga. See, and that's what blacks did back then. Because they knew that Tyrone, it could be 1920. They knew that Tyrone was a fucking fool. And Tyrone wanted to go into the white part of town. Tyrone went to the white part of town acting a fool. May have gotten away with it, and then somebody say, shit, you man, next time, shit, oh white folk might hang you for stealing from them or knocking them over the head. I believe they were doing that 100 years ago.
Oh, yeah, you better believe it.
Yeah.
And they doing it now.
Let me know when I can hop in here.
Okay.
J.I., what's up, man? You can hop in. What's up, man?
So your point, let me ask for clarification. You say that criminality is in black folks' DNA.
100%, 110%, 110%.
Okay.
And I'm talking about African criminality, people, all African people.
Okay, gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
But criminality is only doing that which is contrary to law. Laws is just whatever's determined by the government at that time. All people, by definition, break the law. Even when you just cross the street when you're not supposed to, you jaywalk, that's criminality. So when you say that black people or melanated people, however you want to define it, have criminality in their DNA,
yes, sir.
What do you really mean?
I mean,
because you can't mean that they do crime more than other people, because if you go
absolutely
homogeneous countries, their prisons are full with people who look like them, because criminality is anything that's
Black Jen, let him finish, because I want to jump in real quick. Are you done, J.I.?
Go ahead, answer that.
J.I., I am so glad you said that, sir. You know what's a homogeneous country? Japan. You know what they don't have in Japan? A lot of crime, sir. They don't have a lot of robberies, a lot of assaults, a lot of murders, a lot of rapes, a lot of this, that, and the other. They are a peaceful people, sir. So yes, are there prisons filled in Japan with other Japanese? Sure. But do they have high crime rates? No, because criminality has pretty much been exterminated from their gene pool. It's been exterminated from their culture. It's been exterminated from them. They don't tolerate the people like that in their culture. So yeah, I'm glad you said homogenous countries. But Japan, sir, you can't win with Japan. What about Japan? Keep it real. You would rather live in Japan than Liberia. Keep it real.
Can I respond?
Go ahead.
All right.
Black Jan, you're next. Go ahead.
My point about the they have Yakuza, they have their own gangs and their own underworlds and their own criminality that goes on there as well. Crime is not, localized to any one area, any one people or whatever. And when you said earlier, if I'm not mistaken, and always correct me if I misquote you, you said that if you remove the government from those places, that they would be able to run themselves just fine. All government is that correct? Is that what you said before I continue with this point?
Sir, let's talk turkey here. You know damn
so that
well
was not correct what I just said.
No, everything you're saying is true, but you know damn well that the Yakuza, they ain't messing with the civilian population.
Right.
Let's be honest. And you know the Yakuza, they're not as dominant in Japanese culture as these little nigglet gangs that are on every
the Crips and the Bloods, yeah.
In America. You know that, sir. J.I., you know you wouldn't want to live in J.I., let me ask you a question. Would you rather live in Monrovia, Liberia, or would you rather live in Tokyo, Japan?
From my point, I would have to see what was going on with both of them and do some research on them before I could even answer that. But going back to my point, when you said if you remove the government and it would be fine, as if history is not painted with blood from all countries, because it's a human phenomenon to war and fight for land and resources and power. When you say that, they would have their own squabbles, they would have their own bloodshed, like as all people do, and eventually another government would set itself up. So I don't know what you mean. If you're saying that you remove the government, there would be no crime, that's completely false and untrue, because they have crime now. They have prisons in Japan because they have people who still commit crime. They still have gangs, even if you think their gang, if you think their gangs are nicer than the gangs over here or whatever, that's your opinion. But they still have their own set of underworld.
It's not about
illegal dealings. Okay, go ahead.
It's not about the law, brother. It's not about the law. It is about a genetic code. I don't know if you've ever heard of the MAOA
genetic code.
Huh?
You're making an argument for
Black Jan. Can I get here for a minute, Black Jan?
Yes, it's called the warrior gene. It's called the warrior gene. We love being called warriors. We love being called warriors. We love being called savages when it suits us. But then when somebody says, hey, I think that there's a commonality with a lot of these Black people in the violence that they're inflicting, then, you can't say that they have a warrior gene. Which one is it? Are we warriors or are we not?
Sir, when you say criminality is
I didn't say that.
Conflict with law. The brothers said, and I already clarified this, that Black people across the globe have a genetic disposition for criminality. I got clarification for that. Criminality.
I don't think it's about criminality.
Goalpost. Sir, it's exactly about criminality, because I asked the brother, was that what he said?
Violence.
He told you that's what he said. I asked him, did he say?
And now you're talking to me. And now you're talking to me.
He told, sir, I'm talking. You jumped in. I was talking.
Yeah, you're saying, and now you're talking about some echo.
I'm talking about what he said. He already made it clear that it's criminality. Criminality is a sliding goalpost. It doesn't exist in nature. It's whatever people make it up to be, and that's why laws change. So say
let's switch it to wrong and right, right and wrong.
I'm talking about this guy. Hold on.
We all get your point. You're saying a whole bunch of words to get to a conclusion that we already know what you're trying to say.
That if they were, you don't want me to finish what I'm saying. You know what? This is ignorant. Go ahead.
No. He's on mute. I muted Gen Z. Go ahead, sir. You got the floor. Go ahead.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Medgar Evers, and it's a very tranquil scene compared to just a couple hours ago where a drive-by shooting just took place. Excuse me.
I'm getting live updates as we speak. I've just been updated to the amount of casualties from this drive-by shooting, and I'm getting reports that 2 people were actually declared deceased and 27 others were shot and injured but are in stable condition. And although we must pray for the families of the fallen, we must also praise God for the aim of the super gremlin. If you want to know more about the victims of this crime, make sure you add BGZM News 17 on Patreon at www.patreon.com/BlackGenZMindset. Also, don't forget to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment on the video to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this gun violence in the streets. For more hard-hitting news coverage from the Communitah, by the Communitah, I'm Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
And cut.
All right, dog. Let's get the out of here before these niggas come back.
Whoa. Yo!
Whoa.
Ain't that nigga J?
Nah, that ain't me. That ain't me.
He just went live
That
with
ain't
that
me.
funky ass suit
that's
on.
that nigga. That's not me.
Hey, get that nigga.
Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia. Pray for me.
Okay, well, Gen Z, give me 1 second. Go ahead, Jay.
Is genetically to say that anyone is genetically predispositioned for criminality would be to say that if the laws were made that you have to walk everywhere you went, that they would want to run because they just have to. And then if those same laws were changed a year later and said that you have to run everywhere that you go, now they would stop running and want to walk because they just want to go against whatever is in law. That is ridiculous a notion to
okay, Jay, hold on a second.
And which is why it's really what you meant by criminality.
Jay, hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Jay, are you there? Jay, can I ask you a question? Is he there? Jay, are you there? Maybe he might be on mute. Oh, I muted him. All right, Jay, are you there? He muted himself.
You muted me. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, here we go. I'm about to turn your mic up. Jay, can I ask you a couple of questions, like a series of questions?
Go ahead.
Okay. First question: are you an athlete?
And I'm an athlete. And I played sports in high school, but no, I'm not an athlete.
If you were a betting man, I don't know if you are, but if you were a betting man and there was a marathon, you had an Eskimo, you had a Mexican, and you had a Kenyan. If you were a betting man, who would you pick to win? And you don't even know about the athletic background of neither of the three. Who would you pick to win, sir?
I would bet on the Kenyan.
Okay. If you were a betting man, sir, if you were a betting man, and you had to pick someone to design your car, it could be a German, it could be an El Salvadorian, it could be, I don't know, it could be a Cambodian. Who would you pick to design your car, sir?
I don't know. I'm not into cars.
You should go with the German.
Hold on.
Is it possible? Okay, hold on.
Is he asking you or is he asking me?
JR, hold on a second. Guys, JI, is it possible that certain human beings have different genetic information that is written in their DNA? Nobody bats an eye when they say black people are the best athletes.
Right.
Hold on. Let me answer the question before I was cut off. These people just chomping at the bit for whatever reason.
You answer the question?
I'm sorry, what?
No, go ahead. Answer, Jay. Just talk. Jay, just talk. Go ahead.
What I was going to say was I'm not much in the car, but I will pick whoever has the most popular reputation for car making. And if that was the German, then I would go with the German. Now, to answer your question, now you're saying can people be genetically predispositioned for things?
Mm-hmm.
For traits like, I believe, yes, for traits like in physicality, yeah.
So is it
absolutely now? You never answered my question initially, which was when you said the criminality thing, and I gave you the analogy of if the laws of the land were that it was illegal to run anywhere, and you're saying that people would just be running everywhere, and if they changed those same laws and said that now you have to run everywhere, then black folks would start walking everywhere. You're saying black folks, it's just innate in them to be contrary to the law. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. To answer your question in the immediate sense, yes. What I am saying, J.I., is this. There are racial groups that have a propensity towards violence. There are racial groups that have a propensity towards lower IQs. There are racial groups that have a propensity to be more athletically inclined than other groups. In my opinion, I'm not trying to say that you all need to believe what I believe, but in my opinion, from my experiences in the black race, in African culture, because we're all African, we have a higher propensity towards violence. We just do. I've been around Asians. I've been around other groups of people. They're not easily geared. They're not as aggressive as African people. There might be something that is actually written in our DNA that might be aggressiveness. Just like if we were dogs, I would rather be in a room with a golden retriever than any pit bull that don't bite. Supposedly, he don't bite. It's a pit bull. I don't care if that thing does bite. It's going to rip my body apart. A golden retriever, it may maim me. I may have some bites, but it's not going to destroy me. So we have to stop pretending here. These little juvenile delinquents are evil. They're bad. And what I'm saying is that they need to be ruled with an iron fist instead of catered to and coddled. And intelligent blacks like myself and Gen Z and everybody else on the panel, we have to stop with this pretend thing here. We have to put it like this. I'm dark skinned, right? But I will admit that darker blacks are more violent than lighter blacks. There's nothing wrong with admitting what you see in nature. Gen Z, am I lying? Who has been the more aggressive blacks in your life?
Not going to respond.
No, let me say, Jay.
Yeah, not definitely.
Gen Z, hold on a second. Gen Z,
it comes back.
Gen Z, in your life, what complexion of blacks have been the most violent that you've seen in your life?
Definitely darker skin. You know, I played football, I played basketball, I played sports. The darker skinned men were a lot better at sports. It is what it is, you know. We have different strengths, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, this group is blacks are genetically superior physically. Asians are better at standardized testing. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging that and saying that. It's what you do with that information, how you control it. If we know that we're predispositioned to be more aggressive, then we have to have more discipline. We have to have things built in within our daily lives that allow us to release that energy, going to the gym, staying active. Why do you think there are so many black kids who are in sports? Because you have to keep them tired so they can't be on no BS.
Jay, go ahead, man.
So when white people came over to this country and settled it, had the idea of manifest that nearly wiped out the Native Americans, whatever you want to call them, American Indians.
Yeah,
do you consider that violent?
No, I don't.
Do you not think that was violent?
No,
years of slavery.
It's called civilization. Civilization building.
Can I ask you a question? The white man came over here and civilized.
No. First.
The white man came over there, came to this country, my good sir, and civilized these savages. They were savages, sir. They had no intercontinental communication. They had no intercontinental government. They had no unified religion. These people were killing each other.
No property rights.
They were tribalistic, and they were savages. And any Native American would tell you they would rather live in the white man's society than live in that ancient nonsense that they were living in, sir. And sir, and let me be honest, J.I., you ain't moving to rural Africa to live with the Maasai tribe either. Because they're savages. They are primitive. I don't see you dating a woman with a plate in her lip. Go ahead.
Let me ask you, do you believe that slavery of blacks in America was wrong, in your opinion?
I believe that any type of forced slavery is wrong. Absolutely. So if slavery happened on the scale in which we are taught, then yes, it was wrong. However,
there was a lot of indentured servitude.
It was a lot of indentured servitude, and blacks sold other blacks into that same slavery system. Right. But yeah, it was wrong. But JR, what are you getting at here? Go ahead, sir.
What I'm getting at here is that,
go ahead, sir.
Well, one, to say that one group is, genetically predisposition to be criminal, to me, that's ridiculous, especially when you understand that what criminality is, and the law is made up.
You go with the law
people,
again.
Which is why people do things today that are illegal. In the days of old, it was illegal. I'm sorry, somebody else is talking.
No, go ahead, J.I. You got the floor. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, I thought I heard something.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is that, to me, is a dangerous ideology. That, to me, is a dangerous ideology to run with when law is made up by man, and what's legal and illegal changes. It changes month to month depending on what the relation's going on. And
let me ask you this.
Point
can I ask you a question?
Is that when we justify, like when you say that blacks are when you say that black are the most violent, and then you say that when white people came over here, you said they civilized the savages. So you right away or justify all the violence done in that endeavor because it was something that you found acceptable. Just like all the world killing, that's such the nature of man. But if you find, what I know about you now is if you find the ends to justify the means, then you will excuse that behavior as something else. It's not, century when they did what they did, it was civilized. It's just you got to break a few eggs to make them, I guess. So it's telling when you would completely excuse all these other things to have vitriol toward
J.I. There's a movie called The Godfather 2. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie. The senator in the movie was trying to kick knowledge to Michael Corleone about his family's criminal activities. And Michael Corleone looked at him and said, Senator, me and you are part of the same hypocrisy, sir. J.I., how dare you sit on the white man's computer in the white man's country that he stole from the Indian that you are saying that he stole, and you're trying to kick knowledge to me? Sir, I'm pretty sure that there are people in this country that will buy a first-class ticket for you to go to Africa. How come you're not doing that? If you're telling me about all what the white man did and all the atrocities, then why aren't you going to live in Africa? There's 57 countries in Africa. Choose one.
Can I respond? You're leaning for, you need a mic, but you're leaning forward as if you're waiting for a response like I wouldn't respond. But
it's like you have a delay. Go ahead.
So my response to that is no. Okay. My response to that is, this is my country. None of us know what country, or I won't say not. Few of us know which country we came from and what it all comes down to. America is my country. Speaking of the ills of something doesn't mean, or I should just go. No, that's not what that means. You can critique something, and it doesn't mean you just have to just leave. That's a nonsensical thing to even think. I don't understand that logic. Oh, you critique this, so then you should just leave. I don't even understand how that makes sense, but I guess it makes sense.
Okay. Sir, why are these little kids committing crimes, sir? Why are these black kids committing crimes? Okay, let's get to the point. Why are these black kids committing crimes? Come on. Okay. And I gotta move people on the panel. Why are these black kids?
He's gonna say poverty.
In my opinion, crime and criminality is linked directly, like anything else. It's all about resources, so it is directly linked to poverty. And
what I tell you,
look at, I guess, when this country is being civilized, and they had the wild, wild west and all these things, all these horrible things. Criminality and crime is directly linked to poverty. I don't know what's funny about that. Not excusing these behaviors. And you have a broken family unit. So when you have this broken family unit, and you can relate to this because you said you were a teacher. I was a teacher for 3 years. I left for much of the same reasons I guess you left. It was a downhill battle, and I had to pull out. They wanted me to be those kids' fathers, and that's not what I signed up for. And I was teaching early at elementary. I left out of 3rd grade. When you teach, you're in those Title I schools. You see this poverty. You see these kids coming to school with grown adult burdens on them. Like, where am I going to stay? Some of them homeless, bouncing between homes. And then you want a child to sit in a classroom and learn and be productive when they have grown real life struggles that they're dealing with as children. And that does something to them as they psychologically develop. People may not care, but that's the reality of it. I'm not excusing any crime, any killing of our community. I'm not excusing it, but that is the reason why that's where it's going.
Let them finish.
That answer.
All right, Dr. H.
I'm gonna just leave it there. But
Dr. H. Dr. H1, thanks so much. J.I., do me a favor, J.I., can you come back? Your mic is crackling up too. Dr. H, man, what's up, man?
How you doing, y'all? How you doing?
I'm pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, pretty good. Enjoying this heat.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, I always got to come up and, it's always something crazy coming out of somebody on the panel. You know what I'm saying? So I got to just come in and interject, I mean, that was a good point. Do people, are they, I don't know exact question, but it's like, are people, genetically, capable of doing certain things that other genetically are not, and we can look at the neighborhoods and everything, and it affects us deeply, and it's embarrassing, what's going on in the neighborhoods. But to act like the white man isn't the most violent creature on the history of mankind.
Oh man, we're not talking about white tonight. We're talking about juvenile delinquents harming. That's what I was.
Okay,
let me ask you a question. You said white. Okay, finish your point, sir. So
no, go ahead, bro. I see where it's going.
Because I find
you don't really want the truth.
Okay, what's the truth? Okay, how about this? Nobody.
That's the truth. There's no body count bigger than the white man. There's none. That's the truth. Now go with your question, bro. I see that's knowledge that you hate to hear. So go ahead. Go ahead with the real question. Question, bro.
In terms of war, yes, the white man is the biggest warmonger ever. Yes, right. I'll agree with you.
And war is not violence by any kind of way, right?
War is absolutely
okay. So with that being said, I agree with all the arguing toward me, like I don't know what I'm talking about, is ridiculous. So just go to the next question, bro. I see
there is no war that is going on in America. The only problem in America is little nigglets are running rampant, harming the black community. That is what we are talking about here.
Right.
I don't care what's going on in Ukraine. Oh, I can't even say it because they had demonetized the video, but I'm going to say it. I don't care what's going on in Eastern Europe with the Russian and the Ukrainians. That is a war between cousins.
Right.
I don't care
But
about
you mentioned blacks being able to be good in sports, and nobody never says anything about that. So don't say nothing when we bring up the real numbers.
I'm agreeing with you. The white man is the biggest warmonger ever. But white man, but sir, if it was not for the white man, sir, you would be living in a mud hut with no toilet.
Maybe. And let's keep it a buck. Maybe. Sometimes war is justified.
The ozone layer might not be messed up. There might be a lot of, fresh, all these genetic modified foods. It might not be around. The watermelons might have seeds in them again. I don't know, bro. I don't really know, and nobody really knows what the world is.
Chaotic. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm talking to chaotic, man. You dude up there, you just been cheerleading, bro, for weeks in a row, bro. I ain't really got nothing to say.
Dr. H, Dap, hold on for a second, Dap.
Put a name on it.
Dr. H190, 1D. Sorry,
Dr. Hood. It's Dr. Hood.
Yeah, right.
Right. Make it simple, Dr.
Hood. Dr. Hood. Listen to me. When I'm walking down the street in a business district, I'm not worried about whitey. I'm not worried about some Asian kids. I'm worried about the little gang banging nigglets acting a fool, disrespecting my race, disrespecting my people by embarrassing themselves, by committing acts of violence.
I get that.
Sir, this happens on a daily basis. Do white kids commit crimes? Yeah. But sir, we have a higher frequency of bad behavior in public. We have a higher frequency with these juvenile nigglets running rampant. We had one little niglet on the panel the other day. He thought everything was funny, couldn't admit to anything that he did, and he's preying on black civilians. What don't you get?
And black police officers.
White people ain't bothering me. I'm going
to admit it's a major problem.
Yes.
It is.
And
I don't think the solution, because this is what I'm getting. This is what I'm getting, y'all. You bear with me. Is too, let's just say we're the older black community, but we're not like the super old cats. We're like the dads of today, right? The dads of today is split in the middle. There's guys with all of this big platform, but the kids and the youth don't listen to y'all. They can't relate to y'all, bro.
We don't
care. So listen.
It doesn't matter. Lock their ass up.
Because exactly. So we got half of the dads that say lock them up, and then half of the dads are like, no, they just give them more time. Well, I'm not, because y'all know you're gonna be like, oh, give them more time to do crime, or but they eventually, some of them don't never get it. And those are the ones that make it bad for the guys that kind of figure it out later on and just get the resources and get around the right people, and it makes a big difference.
What about their victims? You care about the victims? Do you give a crap about the victims?
I do, and I'm not going to sit here and argue all day about the victims with you.
Continue to enable them to kill older pregnant black women. Continue to enable them to shoot haphazardly into people's homes and hit kids with stray bullets while they playing a video game.
That's cool too. That's cool. And then you got the other stories where kids went down the wrong path, and then they found somebody that really cared about them. And an older mentor that talked to him, that actually been through the stuff, actually been through the prison system. You feel me? And out living his best life.
Yeah, and they usually meet that person in prison. They usually meet that person in the juvenile homes.
And there's good people with a lot of knowledge in those places too. There are.
There are.
There was somebody that when I was in prison, he talked to me and he saw the road that I was going down.
I believe it.
And he told me, hey, you got to do this.
this is where you're gonna be.
So
this is where
you
you're
were
gonna be.
reformed in prison, but you don't want these super gremlins to go in prison and get the same reformation that you got. It sounds pretty selfish.
I mean, I wouldn't say I was reformed in prison, but there was
some
words. This demon time, dude. You might be just a little bit too young for me, bro. Like, you might need to go get a couple mortgages or something, bro, and really learn about what life is about, bro.
I know way more about real estate than you do. Don't try me.
And you know
Don't
that.
try me.
You
I
know
will
that.
eat your lunch.
I'm not gonna argue, bro.
Can I ask you young brothers a question? Why do you always gotta say who's got the biggest dick?
Nobody talked about that, but go ahead.
No, because you got to competing about real estate. Brothers, you have a serious problem here.
He's the one who brought it up.
It's okay. It don't matter who brought it up. We're men here. Okay? We have a problem with the youth. Most of you cats are in your 30s and shit. It's not your problem. It's the teenagers. These young men are violent, brothers. And it's not, when Chaotic says that black folks...
It's going to be your problem when they run up on you.
Oh, no, I never have to worry about that personally because I'm never around these young men. Okay? I'm just making you know.
It's a lot of selfishness in this.
Okay, understand. When you all talk about selfishness, you have to be selfish, get your own, and then you can build a community. Most people want to build a community and ain't got shit. You can't build on nothing, just on words and feelings. Everybody's got to get selfish now. Take care of your own house, build it up, and then you can go help the youth. You telling these youth, don't kill each other, they come out of single mother household. I'm probably older than everybody here on the panel, but I've seen it in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 10s, and the 20s. I've been watching this for 60 years. Understand? Black people, we are prone to violence. I can prove that one fact. I'm from a black country, Jamaica. We're in the top 5 of the murder capital in the world. We only got 2.6 million people. There ain't no whitey there. Ain't no racism there. We're just violent. Understand? We have to admit what we are.
So what's the solution? Just throw them all away?
No, bro.
Go ahead, Gary.
The solution is very simple. Shun. Stop giving these kids oxygen. Put it this way. The violence hasn't changed over the years. It's the same amount. But when I was coming up, we never talked about them. We didn't give them oxygen. So when they did all this shit, because this shit's been going on, don't think it just started now, or these kids are more violent today. Because I tell you, if you lived in the 80s during the crack era, you would see real violence. This is just kids getting out of hand.
Sir, can I ask you a question? Gary,
Sure.
you there?
Yes, I am.
Earlier, I said that we need a Bukele. You know who Bukele is, right? He's the president of El Salvador, right?
Yep.
We probably need a Bukele in the black community, particularly blacks who are in power. And particularly the blacks who are in power are generally intelligent blacks, collegiate blacks who are also a part of fraternities and sororities. They need to be honest with themselves about managing niggas. And the thing of the matter is that Bukele came into power about 4 years ago. The murder rate has drastically decreased. Robberies have decreased. Do you think that we need that type of implementation here, and particularly with these little niglets running around?
It's impossible to do here.
Go ahead.
We have social justice warriors. This is the age you live in, brothers. You gotta look where you're at. You know what I mean? You gotta look where you're at. There's certain things you can do and certain things you can't do. Now, kids are proud to say, I'm from the hood.
Yep.
When I'm coming up, we never told nobody we from the hood. We live around the corner over there. So the things that kids are proud of today were shameful when I was coming up. So the only way to deal with these children, you have to leave them alone. You can't save them, but you can probably save the ones behind them. You can't look at the ones today, like the 18, 19 to 25. Forget it. They're already there. Just remember when you were 18, 19 and to 25. You could change your mind. Nobody.
I was a great person.
Well, hey, you're doing great man. You know what I mean? I was a fucked up. I can admit, I'm 56 years old right now. I was a fuck up at 16 to fucking 25. Excuse me, so my bad. My bad. I was a screw up. We all were. We're kids. And we think our error was better than everybody else's error. But seeing about the last 4 of them, they're all the same. We just, as we get older, we complain about the ones behind us and forgot what we did.
Thank you, Farron, for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Or
Can I propose a solution?
Go ahead, brother. I'd love to hear one.
Please.
I think the way you deal with the youth is you deal with the parents. If they commit crimes, the parents go to jail with them.
That was in my day.
Because if you're birthing kids that essentially are growing up, not being able to deal with like anything, then you're just as criminal as the child. So why don't you face the same punishment?
Give them the Ethan Crumbly treatment.
That's where I'm at with it. Like,
I'll tell you why that will never work, my little brother.
The parents need to be more culpable than the children at this point.
80% of the parents of these children are women. Do you think they're going to lock up women? Never.
Throw them in.
They're not going to, bro. Okay.
They should.
Look at child support. I'll show you how child support's changed over the years. Before, a woman could not get child support unless she wasn't married. In the 80s, they changed that. If you had a baby, you could get child support. Now, the last 35, 40 years, you have 3 generations in that.
Or if not thrown in the jail, they should be able to lose their housing if they're on public housing.
Well,
what do you need public housing for?
Well, 80% of all single women are in public housing. Remember what public housing is called, right? Section 8.
If you're raising criminals,
I like that idea.
The government should not be subsidizing your life. You're there to raise your child.
All right, you see, the government subsidizes it because it's big business, brothers. It's all about the dollars and cents. Got nothing to do about feelings or anything that's happening. Consider now, if you don't have these riffraffs having kids committing all these crimes, the jails are empty. The jail is on the stock market.
I agree with that too, but I'm just saying, at this point, you got to start holding parents accountable. If the parents can't hold the children accountable, then the government needs to hold the parents accountable. You had them. Your job was to raise them. You failed. You need to face the punishment as well as
I guarantee these kids won't be in the street if they mama is really on they behind about to lose their housing if he do some like take somebody's life in a car.
Any better now?
They'll think twice.
Yeah, because in Black Gen Z, here goes the thing. You are correct. It's not that the kid doesn't have that criminality still embedded in them. It's that now you've put a pressure on that behavior. Damn, man.
Oh my God.
That's chaotic. I watched your show just the other day ago and you had that young man on. That young man been charged 3 times in a month and he's on the road.
Yeah,
his mom doesn't care.
I wanted to finish what I was saying for just talk. The criminal behavior will be in these children, but that social that pressure, like if the mom says, "Look, you better not take your bad ass out there because I'm gonna lose everything." See, that kid has to worry about his mom whipping his ass now, the uncles, and other family members, because they're gonna say, "Damn, man, you out here doing these crimes. You got your mama on the street, blah, blah, blah." See, now it's gonna be a family effort to make sure that this ignorant little niglet does not commit a crime. I think that's what they should do.
It takes a village.
Listen, one thing there. Where did they learn this criminality?
It's in their genetic pool. It's in their genetic makeup.
They learned it from their mothers. I'll explain. The first time you ever heard a curse word, who did you hear from?
I said this earlier.
Who did you hear it from?
I said this much.
I don't know if y'all seen this footage, but there are like women who got their kids stealing out of people's purses in LA. People will be eating outside and they'll have their kids crawl up, steal their purse, and then walk off with the whole
But
family.
let's not even go there. Let's talk about the mental factor. 65 years, right? There's World War II over, right? Women still wanted to work. We didn't want to go back home to our husbands. The women cannot take on the stress of working, being competitive in the corporate world, trying to move up, get all sorts of raises and get promotions. And now you have to compete. There's always a place for Black women in the corporate world. There's always one spot. Now you got to come home and turn that off. The family is suffering. Two-parent household home is suffering. Now the boys are learning how to be emotional like you, mom. And now he's learning now not how to problem solve. He's shooting you quicker, picking up a gun or a knife, stabbing you. No backbone. So he's ending your life rather than discussing or problem solving anything. This is specifically from the women who are working the last 65 years who are bringing up these kids.
I disagree with you 100%. Because the majority of these kids that are committing these crimes, their mothers don't work. My mother, because my father,
I'm talking about problem solving. I hear where you're coming from, but I'm talking about the moms are emotional. The boys are learning that emotion and not being able to problem solve from their emotional moms. And then the moms can't turn off and be feminine because they don't know how to, because they've been working for the last 65 years. That's a problem. Basically, they're bringing up men. We have men. They're not women who are single moms working. You're basically bringing up men. They're not men, but they are.
Too many things.
See what I'm saying? It's really, and the system has done this to us. It's the system from World War II.
You know what else could be done?
Remember, they asked the women to go back home to their husbands, World War II. The women said no.
No, brother. You're incorrect. After World War II, we had Vietnam and the Korean War. What are you speaking on?
You know what else could be done as well? You could give the welfare benefits to those lower income families that are below the poverty line that choose to stay together as a mother and father. So if they are below the poverty line, instead of giving it all to just a single mother, incentivize those people to stay together as a unit. And
I'll give you one better, my friend.
For welfare. It can't just be one parent. You have to have both parents in order to qualify.
They shouldn't give single mothers welfare.
Huh?
If a single mother doesn't have a dad, she shouldn't get welfare. Because the welfare system was supposed to build up the family. But Black folk took it a little different and broke up the family.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is if both parents are in poverty, require there be both of those parents present in order to even qualify for it. Don't give it just a single person.
Welfare reform would go a long way to fix the problem.
Yeah, it shouldn't be just one parent getting welfare for the family. It should be a requirement that both parents be present. I don't know what the situation is.
Single fathers can't get welfare, right?
Welfare reform. But listen, we're at a point where they're saying that criminality is literally just in Black people DNA. Now, when he said that if you harshen the law, hold on, Gary. When he said that if you just harshen the laws, that would change the behavior. All behavior is a product of the consequences. That's for all human beings. That's what laws are literally for. It is to affect and curb and incentivize certain behavior and de-incentivize certain behavior. So when you say if you made stricter laws or whatever laws were enforced, that would make whatever, but the criminality would still be inside. That makes no sense. Do you think if there was no laws, and we're not even going to talk about the fact that you cherry pick, I guess, when it's okay for violence to be acceptable and not counted as a bad thing. Like the brother said, Dr. Hood, about all the wars and all the violence. And like I told you how what did you say? You said they civilized this country. So, okay. So we cherry pick when the violence is acceptable and when it's not. And then we just say that it's still just deeply rooted within Black people. No.
All of civilization has been violent.
All solution.
let me read the super chat real quick. I'm sorry. Let me read the super chat. Nathan, what's up, Nathan? Guys, please go to the Real Nathan Daily and subscribe to his channel. Nathan says, if you don't raise them, we will cage them. You know, Nathan is a police officer. All the juveniles I arrested lived with their moms and their fathers were not there. Shout out to you, Chaotic. Now, I want to address J.I. real quick. J.I., this is an open panel. You could have freedom of speech all day long. But wars bring about change. Sir, if it were not for World War II, sir, you would be speaking German. The fact of the matter is that there's a difference between war and senseless violence. Right. If it was not for World War II, sir, a lot of scientific and technological achievements wouldn't even been made. The Autobahn, if I'm not mistaken, came from Germany. So there's some level of productivity out of war. But a child running around the streets with a gun, gunning down a 75-year-old woman going to the grocery store to get her bags, that to me is a little bit more abhorrent than two soldiers shooting at each other. But go ahead with the Harriet Tubman slave narrative that you want to give, sir. Go ahead, you get the floor.
All right, I don't know about the Harriet Tubman thing, but see, this is what I'm saying. When you take the act, killing people and taking lives or whatever, and that's what I already said earlier, if in your opinion the ends justify the means, then it's okay with you. What I'm telling you is that it's okay with you too. What I'm telling you is that I'm not saying that it's okay when two people run around in the streets and kill each other. What I'm telling you is that all behavior is a product of the consequences. And just as war is historically been for resources and all these things, when one person kicks in somebody else's door, if they are doing these things for resources, when they commit these crimes, when they're doing these things, they're doing these things for resources. But since it's on a small scale, okay, and you don't care about the well-being of their family or whatever, I guess you just think everybody just commits crime just out of pure evil. But if the killing is on a large enough level, then we can just call it war, and then it was necessary. But all people who do these things, everybody has a reason for what they do. And to the brother that was talking about welfare reform, that is what will be needed to fix this issue. Because no, right now the government incentivizes horrible behavior in people, which is why women can have children that they can't afford and be taken care of.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
Guess what? I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.